time. We back. We got another video. This one is going to be called "Who is the Man and Who is the Woman?" We want to talk about isolation, independence, and being an individual, and how we want to challenge that myth. We want to challenge the individual, being an individual, being independent, and being isolated. We want to challenge that because this is where it's moving towards in regards to our technology, in regards to us being on the iPad or being on the cell phone, being in social situations where we're not connecting with people, the disruption of family, the dysfunction in our families, how we need to get back to the basics, how being self-centered and being so focused without balance can become a problem. So we want to say, who is the man and who is the woman? We are social creatures by nature. We were created at our core to be social. So because organically we were created to be social creatures by nature, and because we live in a society, we want to give out the definitions of social, and we want to give out the definition of a society. The definition of social is how you relate to the organization. The social part is the relationship. How do you relate to the organization? Society is an aggregated group of people that live together in an ordered community. Again, a society is an aggregated group of people who live in an ordered society, an ordered community, excuse me. So that being the foundation, that being the structure, that is the core of who we are and where we come from. So that is the challenge to the independent, isolated individual. We want to start off with our my mother and father. Mother and fathers, that's going to be the core, deepest connection that we can have as far as a relationship is concerned. Our mothers and fathers, that is our creation. That is where we started from. You were birthed from your mother. Your mother and father got together and created you or us. If we try to be independent, if we try to be an individual, or if we try to be isolated from that relationship, that will not work. So we want to talk about a healthy mother and father raising the child. The childhood is the foundation of how you will become a functional or dysfunctional adult. A mother and father having a cohesive, healthy relationship, raising the child has a much better chance of being a healthy adult. So to try to be isolated, try to be independent from our mothers and fathers, this is what we're seeing here today. And it does not work. Because this is the core foundation of who you are and who you will become as an adult. We want to move from our mothers and fathers. We want to move to our families, our extended family, grandmother, grandfather, uncle, auntie, brothers, sisters, cousins. Those relationships, moving from the core, we're going to move to the surface. From the core, going up from the core of mother and father up to the extended family, those have lifelong impacts as well. We are connected. Those relationships are connected, so deeply connected they have lifelong positive or negative ramifications. A lot of times in our families, we may go to a funeral. Somebody may pass away, and we try to figure out, why does it hit us like a ton of bricks? Why is it that we cry so uncontrollably, so consistently, so continuously? Because it's a void now in your life, because there's a connection that you may not fully understand. So because we try to be isolated from our families, because sometimes we try to be independent of our families, and sometimes we try to be an individual when we're dealing with our families, but that connection is there. It's organic and it's coming from the core. But the family structure, of course, is not as in-depth as the mother and father's connection in the relationship to the individual, to us. When we move from our families, we want to go to our friends. Our friends, that's another staple. That's another foundation. That's another situation that could be pivotal as a child or an adolescent. If we have a childhood friend or a friend in our adolescence, that could be pivotal to our adulthood. So it could be positive or negative and have a lifelong ramification with our friends. I think many of us have had lifelong friends from our childhood, and those are staples to us. It helps define who we are as adults. And then the loss of a friend, childhood friend or a friend in your adolescence before your adulthood leaves a void. And then it has a negative long-term impact. So we have to look into that and make sure you're healthy within that if that's not intact. Just like the mother and the father, just like the family, then the friends. So now we're going to the core. I mean, from the core to the surface. So we want to talk about now our dating relationships. The man. A lot of brothers, we experience hurt from the sister. The man might be 25 or 30 years old. He's had a couple of relationships. Some of them has been serious. He's experienced that hurt. So now he's saying, look, I'm done. I ain't treating women good no more. I don't care. I'm just going to do me. Then that has a negative impact on the next woman he's going to come in contact with. Now, if the woman didn't have a positive, healthy relationship with her father, the brother is going to have a problem with that because he's probably not used to having a consistent authoritative figure in her life. Having that authoritative figure in her life, that will help her understand the guidance and counseling and direction that a man can give. And not as a father, just somebody that's being the protector and the provider in her life. So because the man is going to have a problem if she doesn't have a healthy connection with her father in their relationship, so most women or a lot of sisters, they're going to pick the bad boy. So the good guy or the good man is going to have a negative, he's going to be impacted negatively by her choices, picking the bad boy. The bad boy is a lot of things, but he is very rarely ever lonely. So the good guys, they come to the barbershop, they might have friends and family, they may have a brother or a cousin, and they see them with all the ladies, they treat them bad, and then he has this wealth of women, he has this pool of women. And so he is doing his thing. He may have purchased his house, he may have his degree, he might have 2 jobs, he might have it going on, he's ready to, step up and assume his position with that woman. But the woman is making bad choices, unhealthy choices, that's impacting him and her. So while he's dating the woman, the reason he's trying to say now he wants to be, he's going to start treating women negatively because what he's seen and what he's experienced. And that could be largely because these women or these females have not had healthy relationships with their fathers. If these connections, if the woman was not powerful, if the man could be isolated, independent, and an individual outside of her, if the woman wasn't so powerful, if the connection wasn't so strong, then the man could have his ego in check, he could be independent, he could be self-sufficient, he could have his pride under control, he could have a knowledge of self, he could be self-aware, he could be in the community, he could be a strong individual, get hurt by that woman, and move on, heal, and then go to the next relationship and not carry that baggage with him. But because the woman is so powerful, because those connections are so strong, when that man gets hurt or when that brother gets hurt, he carries and transfers that energy to the next current relationship. So the previous relationship and the connections are so strong, we carry that stuff into our current relationships or our next relationship. So we're going to move from the brother, we're going to go to the women. A lot of times, the sisters, they call me, they'll say, hey DJ, they say, hey look, he doesn't have a good relationship with his mother, I need to be cautious, I'm going to be careful. I don't think I want to indulge this brother. So now the sisters, that makes sense. You are correct. You should be cautious. That's common sense. If he doesn't have a good relationship with his mother, that's probably going to have an impact on you. That's where he comes from. That's probably who raised him. And if the person that raised you don't have a strong connection with, yes, that can truly carry over into the relationship with a man or a young man. So the sisters, if those connections weren't so powerful, if it didn't have long-term ramifications from your mother and father, from your family, from your friends, and we could be independent, and we could be isolated, and we could be individuals, then we wouldn't have these problems that we currently have today. But that is the myth. Because we are social creatures, we live in a society, we have been socialized. So the sister, when that brother doesn't have that connection with his mother, it makes sense for her to be cautious and not deal with that situation. Because that brother will end up hurting her. And if he ends up hurting her, and not in all cases, then that's the baggage that she's going to carry into the next relationship. So if the woman was healthy, if she was strong, if she was independent, if she was an individual, if she's a virtuous woman, if she's self-aware and she has her spirit intact, and she wants to move forward, she should be able to leave that relationship with the hurt, heal from that relationship, move on to the next relationship in a healthy manner. But because these connections are so strong, she cannot. She takes that baggage, just like the man, just like the brother, into the next relationship. And then the current guy is going to have to deal with the past baggage, the past hurt, and the traumas that she has now been triggered with from the past, dealing with those other brothers and those other relationships. In our relationships, we get the calls. We in the forums, we get the calls. I have one exercise I like to do. I have a lot of exercises that I do in the forums and the retreats, and the different things that we have going on when we get men and women together. So I'll get a group of women, and I'll take them to a church. I'll take them to a grocery store. I could take them to a lounge. We can hear some live music. So what I do is I try to take them into the atmosphere and show them how the man sees that atmosphere and how he views you. A man is going to approach that woman differently in a different setting and situation. It'll be different in the church than it will be in the lounge or the club. It'll be different in the grocery store than it will be in the lounge or the church. So I take them on what I call a field trip. So I get a group of women together, and we'll go out, and I try to explain to them what we see in the grocery store. To us, it's not the grocery store when that man is approaching you. The environment dictates, because we've been socialized, how we're going to proceed and try to talk to this woman or this sister in these situations. So when we go out on these field trips, women have a very different view of what that environment is and how he's going to approach. So because we see it differently, we need to understand that we think differently. We're going to approach it differently. So those type of exercises kind of help women to understand how men would approach under those different circumstances and situations. My personal experience, I found that when I'm talking to men and women and we're doing the research, that a lot of the family situations at its core are the same. They're very, very connected. It's almost identical, but then you have those surface specifics because of culture and environment, economics, mentality, the culture of the family, that changes who the person is and the different dynamics on the surface. But at the core, it's usually the same. So when we're talking in the forums, I get to hear a lot of wealth of experiences come out based off of the mother and father, based off of the family, based off the friend, based off of the dating. And this is where the trauma and the triggers come. And it's usually the trauma and triggers come from our childhood, from your youth. So what we want to do is try to correct some of this. We want to try to put some things in place. We want to try to get some solutions to these common problems. But we want you to take this. We want you to test this. We want you to try this. Take it to the barbershop or take it to the hair salon. Take it to the job or take it to the church. This is the Clipperdome Chronicles. Thank you.